What's up, CFM? Happy Labor Day to you. This is Coach Matt with your Monday workout. It is a holiday. We are going to do a benchmark. The benchmark today is Helen. It's a little bit of a shorter benchmark, quicker one. And I know some of you guys had your heart set on a big, nasty hero, but don't worry, there is some post-workout core and accessory work to hopefully keep you busy for the whole hour, and then some on this 2022 Labor Day. So let's get into the warm-up. We'll begin with 3 rounds through a 200-meter jog. When you come in from your jog, we're gonna do some AT raises at the wall, calf raises at the wall, 15 reps. So we're just prepping the lower extremities. The more you can activate all the muscles in your toes, calf, ankle, Achilles, all that stuff, that will help you to prepare yourself for the run a little bit better. Then we're gonna do some hinge warm-up preps, or band Romanian deadlifts. So stand on top of that band. Before you pull, make sure you set your posture, right? So we're always pulling from the hips with good posture in the shoulders and the spine, right? Then we're gonna do some sumo inchworms, so just opening up the inner thighs a little bit, get a nice wide stance. Unless that bothers your hips to stand up straight in that position, in that case, just go a little narrower, but do try to plant your hands firmly on the ground between your feet. Walk yourself out to the plank position. If you can do a push-up from there, go ahead and do that. If not, just walk out into the sumo position. And then we're gonna do some kips into pull-ups. And I had another optional piece of this. The kips into pull-ups is important because we're gonna be doing some pull-ups in the workout, like so, right? So think little smaller kips on the first round. Second round, start working bigger kips into it. And then third round, set up and try out some push-ups or pull-ups. And then the last one is just a little optional knee and hip opener that we call knee rolls. So we're gonna start in the bottom of the squat position right here. And from there, we're gonna just roll your knees to the floor and then roll back out of it, right? So we're practicing being balanced and allowing those knees to move and the hips to move around and getting comfortable in that bottom position. If that bugs your knees at all, feel free to skip this one, or just to spend some time in a very, very low squat. So we're stretching out the hips and the inner thigh when we do that, okay? All right, so setting up for the workout, Helen is 3 rounds through, 400-meter run, not too far, 21 kettlebell swings. These are the American kettlebell swing, and they are at our standard weight, right? So we're going all the way overhead every rep. Standard weight is 53 for the guys, 35 for the ladies. Again, not too terrible of a movement, 21 reps. And then the last is 12 reps of a pull-up, right? So as always on our pull-ups, we'll start with the arms at a dead hang and then chin over at the top. And kipping pull-ups, butterfly pull-ups, any other style. If you want to do strict, that's fine. Banded pull-ups, jumping pull-ups, any of those are appropriate. This is a metabolic conditioning benchmark. So what that means is we pick a movement that is in the, say, like 50 to 75% range for maximum effort, right? And then we try to combine those into cardiovascular movement, a gymnastic movement, and a weightlifting movement. We smash those all together and give you a format that is similar to a race start, right? And our benchmarks are benchmarks, and the definition of that is that we want to test them repeatedly over the course of your career, right? Or the course of your fitness training, to give you evidence that you are getting fitter, or to show you where maybe a hole in your fitness might be, right? And so the Helen is one of my favorite, because it is one of these workouts that we say like has no shade to it, right? There's not a single like 185-pound power clean, or the 275-pound deadlift, or a muscle up, or anything that's like really, really challenging about this triplet, right? Everything is relatively simple to do, and we will pick even if you can't do an unassisted pull-up, we will set you up with a moderate resistance body weight pulling exercise that allows you to move through them swiftly. So what that means is that the pressure goes onto you for how hard I can push myself to get the most out of my body during this shorter benchmark. And we say shorter in that like median time of 10 minutes. The faster ones will be in the like 7.5-7 minute range, and it's okay if it takes as long as like 13, 14, 15 minutes to do this workout. So as long as you are working hard against a relatively like moderate individual rep resistance, And I know that that's a mouthful, but what that means is I don't want to see any singles on like a kettlebell swing or a pull-up, and I don't want you to be walking on the run. Everything should be achievable at a continuous high pace. And that is the goal for today's workout with Helen. All right, so when you finish Helen, make sure, try not to put away your stuff until everybody is done. Cheer for your classmates. And when everybody is finished, then we have a little core and accessory work. This stuff is very optional. However, there's a point to all of it, and I strongly encourage everyone to get as many of these pieces in as you possibly can, right? So 2 to 3 rounds depending on how much time you got. Let's do these stagger stance band rotations. So for this one, I'm gonna have my inner leg forward, right? And I'm gonna start with getting a little bit of tension with my arms pointed towards the rig, but my body pointed away from where the rig is or where the band is connected, and I'm just gonna rotate away, right? There's a little bit of balance involved because the tension changes, but this should feel similar to a standing Russian twist. I'm gonna do 15 reps on that direction, switch stance, right? And then 15 reps in this direction. See how I gotta lean out a little bit as I'm doing it, but trying to keep my feet planted and my hips in the same orientation the whole time while I'm doing that. And I got enough resistance on there that as I pull more into it, it's trying to pull me off balance, right? So you need a little bit more resistance in order to feel that in the obliques. L sit or L hang, right? So the hang, this is real simple. We just dead hang from the bar or from the rings and try to hold my legs straight out in front of me for 30 seconds or increments that allow me to get to 30 seconds. And I'll bend my knees, or I can stick one leg out, right? But make sure at the very minimum is knees above parallel. And then the assisted version of this is planting my hands on either a bench or a pair of boxes, and I've got my tippy toes just barely touching the ground, but I'm still staying really tight in my abs as I do this, right? And so I can even start with one leg out, one foot touching the ground, and then switch them in the middle. And if I get to 30 seconds like that, I'm working really hard, right, to do that, even with a toe touching the ground. So it's much more challenging than it might appear on video, right? What's next? 30-second L hang, Nordic curls, band hamstring curls. So I have the Nordic curl machine set up right here. I know I only have one of them because it's kind of an experiment right now, but I would love for more people to try this out, and I'll get more of these. They're relatively expensive, but this is a movement that I really believe in as far as how it affects your hamstrings and your low back, right? And the strength that our hamstrings have, and avoiding hamstring pulls, getting more strength and confidence in movements like our deadlift and clean. But we'll start with your heels underneath the pad there and make sure that it's tightened down nice and tight. And then with my body like a plank from the knees to the shoulders, I'm trying to lower myself down as slowly as possible, catching with my hands and then pushing myself back up, right? So what I'm looking for is I'm trying not to bend at the waist, right? Or get to here and lean forward. This is immediately what you want to do because you're trying to protect your face from falling on the mat, right? But you got to keep those hands up, try to slow yourself down. And then on the way back up, I'm trying not to punch my butt up in the air, but try to pull myself up with my hamstrings when I do that. So alternate version for this is just banded hamstring curls at the rig, and you just put the rig or the band around the rig base and you do your hamstring curls from the floor. Both those are very good movements for targeting the hamstrings. And then the last one is our banded hip flexor. So we'll take our band down from where we had it at the trunk rotations, and I'll lay on the floor with the band around one of my feet. You could also do 2 feet if you wanted to. The other foot planted here helps to keep me from sliding towards the rig, and I'm just pulling my knee towards my chest, keeping my heel low when I do that, all right? And that's our little accessory complex. And those are all really good longevity and quality of life movements that I try to put into the workouts so that a lot of the movements that we do target big power production and making a lot of force, and these are things that can matter in like a global sense to our bodies and to helping us be more fit in a way that's measurable. And these ones are a lot more about detail, small muscles, stability, and taking away pain from the common areas that we get it if we don't do specific targeting on accessory stuff like rotator cuff, the gluteus medius and the piriformis for the hips, psoas, hip flexor, and then all the little muscles in the feet and ankles. Those can be a huge quality of life issue if they start to hurt because they take away from your ability to do the big power movements, right? So the goal is overall in the programming that we're trying to combine the more metabolically demanding movements like a power clean or a wall ball in a certain setting with those smaller accessory movements in a different setting, and that we can get benefits from both of those, and neither of them can be eliminated from a good program. All right, that's it for today. Hope you guys had a happy Labor Day, and I'll see you tomorrow.